we make one of my favorite appetizers. Rich, creamy, savory, and delicious. Loaded with sausage, Parmesan cheese, herbs, garlic, and cream. Some things are better than they seem, and these are better than they look. Welcome back to 999 Things to Cook. We start with sausage. A lot of times I use hot and spicy, but today I am going for mild. In a pan and brown it off nicely. When it is cooked through, remove it from the pan. If there is a decent amount of grease in the pan, then you are in good shape. If not, just add a little oil, or in this case, clarified butter. In goes your mushrooms, which beforehand you sliced and gave a rough chop to. Don't worry about nice and uniform pieces, because who cares? Cook for a bit until they have given off some water. You don't need to cook them all the way down. You still want them a bit plump and tender. No need to season them at this point. When they have given off a good bit of moisture, strain them and set aside. You will then pick the leaves off some fresh thyme, maybe a tablespoon or so. Mince yourself up a nice shallot. If your shallot is very small, make it 2 of them. Get yourself a few cloves of garlic and chop it up a bit. Put all of your thyme, shallots, and garlic on the board, add them all together and go over it several times with your blade until you have a very fine mince going on. In a medium-high non-stick pan with clarified butter, add your mince and cook for a few minutes until fragrant. Don't burn it. Then add your mushrooms back in, as well as the cooked sausage. Incorporate all of the flavors together. Add some cream. It should not completely cover everything in the pan. Then add some kosher salt, fresh cracked black pepper, and some white pepper. I often add cayenne as well, but I didn't this time. Bring it to a low simmer. Start adding some Parmesan cheese in increments. After about a handful has been added, stir it up to incorporate. Repeat this process a few times and then turn the heat to low. The ingredients will start to thicken up after a little while. If you feel it is not thickening enough, then add some more cheese in as needed. Keep in mind that this will thicken more as it cools, but when it gets to the thickness that you want, add some green onions. Remove from the heat and let it cool completely. Now, to make them into cups, we need to use Phyllo Dough. This is typically the size cups that I make to serve at parties, but I'll show you the even lazier method that I usually do for them. They sell these tiny Phyllo cups in the freezer section of the grocery store. It's pretty easy to just open them up and add some filling into each one and bake them off real fast. So just for fun, I'll make a few of these. But let's get to the Phyllo Dough. I'll make the cups in a moment, but I wanted a different shape as well because, well, I just wanted to. Take a sheet of the phyllo and lay it flat, then brush it with clarified butter or oil. Then add a second sheet on top and brush again, and then a third sheet. I wasn't sure how well this would work because the filling was still a bit soft at room temperature. If I put the pan in the fridge for a couple hours, it would hold any shape that I want, but I didn't have the time tonight, so I chanced it, filling along the end and carefully roll the dough forward into a log. I gave it a head start in a pan to help it hold its shape before baking it off and slicing on the bias. To make the cups, I have 6 sheets of phyllo that has clarified butter brushed in between each layer. Sorry, I forgot to turn the camera on during that part, but you get the idea. Anyways, you cut them into squares. Then, in your hand, separate some of the sheets and offset them before gently pressing into a cupcake tray. Then add your filling. I would recommend only filling them halfway so that it's much easier to remove them, but we tend not to play it safe in this kitchen, so I filled them above the brim like a boss. A boss might have made their own phyllo dough. Shut up! Thanks for ruining the moment. $3.75 for about 12 minutes. Now let's check these out.